Jim Clyburn is the representative of the 6th Congressional District in the state of South Carolina. In this clip, you're going to hear him state very clearly that he believes that Joe Biden should pardon Donald Trump. Listen in.
Have you specifically urged President Biden to pardon preemptively Donald Trump?
I have not urged the president directly, but I did have that discussion with members of his staff that I thought he ought to do that. I think we need to clear the air in this country, get this election, because I think that we are trying to run a government on behalf of all the people of this country. And if we spend all of our time going forward pursuing Trump or Trump pursuing Liz Cheney, Jack Smith, Dr. Fauci, that is what we need to get off the table. And so I've asked the president's people to consider preemptive pardons for all those people. Wow. Get it off the table. Because I know Donald Trump, and I think the country knows Donald Trump. And as soon as he gets to the point where he can get the credit for it, he'll do it.
Here's the problem I have with this. If Jim Clyburn doesn't understand already that there is no normal governing that is going to occur underneath Donald Trump, then I have to ask the question, where were you between 2017 and 2021? Where were you after the election of 2016 and before the election of 2020? Because there's nothing about Donald Trump that is going to be normal in governance. And I have to ask even further, have you been listening, Congressman Clyburn? Have you been paying attention to the fact that Donald Trump says that he wants retribution? And I think that that's the lens through which I have to understand what Jim Clyburn is saying. I think they are trying to, they're trying to find a way to satiate the raging demon that is in Donald Trump right now. There is going to be no negotiation with Donald Trump. He's already made it clear. In fact, I want to read some comments for you that I found right underneath the same video. This individual says, too effing late. Where was this a-hole 2 years ago? Trump does not need a pardon. And now it's time to investigate and charge anyone who broke the law and used our justice system for political purposes. I guess they meant to put a 4 in there. See, you can't negotiate with these people, Congressman Clyburn. You simply cannot. They have every intention of persecuting, not just prosecuting, but persecuting every single one of you in Washington, D.C. And matter of fact, not just you, all of us. Anyone in the media, anyone in social media, anyone that they do not like, they've made it clear. And now they have power. And you can't negotiate with terrorists. This is why you absolutely must understand you cannot negotiate with ideological terrorists. But let's read a couple more comments because I don't want you all to just take my word for it. I am making it very clear that there should be no negotiation with Donald Trump and the rest of MAGA because they're coming in and their intention is to not only destroy the government, but to politically prosecute and persecute every single one of the people on their enemies list. And if people don't understand that, if people aren't prepared for that, if people aren't prepared to take that head on and instead feel like they can somehow satiate this raging demon, if you believe that you can satiate this raging, furious, revenge devil that is inside of MAGA, let's read some more comments. Here's another one. Says, sorry, but there's no playing nice anymore. Democrats made their bed. Representative Clyburn, are you paying attention to what's going on here? Here's another one. No pardon should be accepted. Trump committed no crimes. There it is. That's the one I wanted to get to. No, there must be consequences for abusing the judicial system and the FBI the manner the Democrats did. It's abhorrent, unforgivable prison. I just did a video establishing the fact that there's no black person who could be eliminated by a white person and MAGA would see that white individual as guilty. In this case, there's literally nothing Donald Trump could have ever done that MAGA would have looked at and said, yeah, he's guilty. Donald Trump said it himself long ago. He said he could go out on Fifth Avenue and shoot someone and everyone would still support him. And so they don't want a pardon because they refuse to accept the fact that he's guilty. Let's keep reading because I want people to really understand the times in which we live. This one says no, because getting a pardon would send a message that Trump actually committed crimes, which he did not. These are the people we are going to be dealing with for the next 4 years. These are the people who are in position to absolutely destroy the American democratic experiment. That's their goal. That's what they plan to do. And if Democrats in Washington, D.C. are not prepared to fight against that, if you think you could get to business as usual by giving Donald Trump a pardon, Representative Clyburn, with all due respect, you are not cut out for this season of America. This season of America is accelerated to something that you may not be prepared for if you think that you can settle Donald Trump down with a pardon. His people would turn on him if he accepted a pardon. MAGA would turn on Donald Trump if he accepted a pardon. And I'm mighty afraid that there are so many Democrats in Washington, D.C. who still don't know what's going on, who still don't know what time it is, who still don't realize that if you're not up there ready to knuckle up and not only fight for your own life, but fight for the life of this democracy, then this democracy is dead on arrival. January 20th, 2025, this democracy will end not just because Donald Trump and MAGA have power, but because the Democratic Party, if they carry the same sentiment as Jim Clyburn here, the Democratic Party is not prepared to fight back the way it needs to be fought. Sorry for getting a little bit passionate about this, but to see someone with this much power in this country be so blind to what time we are in right now, to the times in which we live, signals to me that not only are we going to be faced with a rabidly revengeful Republican Party in the form of MAGA, but we're going to be faced with an inept party, opposition party, that thinks that they could triangulate Donald Trump's rage, who thinks that they can outmaneuver him and offer him a pardon. Why would Donald Trump accept a pardon from Joe Biden when he can pardon himself when he gets into office? Why would Donald Trump accept a pardon from Joe Biden when, just like everyone said, it would give the appearance as if he was guilty of something, which he is, but they would never admit it? There's nothing that Donald Trump can do that this country, a good percentage of this country, would ever look at and say he's guilty of. In fact, he's getting ready to destroy democracy, and they're going to thank him for it. These are the people, MAGA, people, Donald Trump is getting ready to take away their pre-existing conditions from Obamacare, and they're going to thank him for it. Many of them are going to die because of what Donald Trump is getting ready to do, and on their deathbeds, they're going to thank Donald Trump for it. Jim Clyburn, do you think these are reasonable people? Do you think these are rational people? And if you do, where have you been, my friend? Perhaps you're still too busy getting rid of Bernie Sanders in 2020 the way you did in South Carolina primaries. I was there. I saw what you did. It was a good, fantastic maneuver. You outmaneuvered all of Bernie Sanders' entire, great job. But have you paid attention to what's going on since? Where America is right now for the Democratic Party, as you, representative, one of the most powerful men of the Democratic Party, for you to call for Joe Biden to pardon Donald Trump, not only is a slap in the face of justice. I haven't even talked about that. It is a slap in the face of the very idea of justice. But it also shows that you perhaps are not prepared for what's coming next. And maybe, just maybe, it's time for you to retire. With all due respect, and to all due respect to the wonderful people of the 6th Congressional District of South Carolina. I love that. That's such a wonderful place. I've spent some time there, great time in that district. But I hope that you all can see what time it is in America, and that this, even just floating this idea, suggests very strongly that there's some people in the Democratic Party who are not aware of what's getting ready to happen. And if they're not aware of what's getting ready to happen, how can they even try to hold the line on behalf of all of us, including those in the 6th Congressional District of the state of South Carolina?